got onto guns, how old was you when you first saw a gun?
Well, you know, growing up in South London at a young age, it was young. I think I was about 13 when I first saw a gun. Not actually held a gun or used a gun, but visually seen a gun about 13 or 14. And that was like in a dance hall, because I used to be full of sound systems when I was young.
Okay, so how old was you when you first felt you wanted a gun and that a gun would make you a bad man?
I say when I was about 17, 18, I started to have a certain mentality on the streets that, you know, you rule with an iron fist, and the baddest man's got knife, the baddest man's got guns. So about 18. I'll say about 18. How can you look on someone who don't know you from nowhere and you just want to kill him for no reason at all? No reason at all. And that's how the judge wins. You know how the judge wins when you go to court. I've got to be blunt with this, like with young black guys. It's like you go to court, you kill someone, you go to court. The judge says, all right then, one's dead, and I'm gonna lock one up. Who's one? One's dead, I'm gonna lock one up. But one's dead, I'm gonna lock 5 up. Who's one? See, we ain't got no one but ourselves to blame. You know, it's deep. We've got to come out of the way of thinking the mentality of, that's my estate, I own that estate. No, you don't own that estate. The council owns that estate. You don't own that block. The council owns that block. What you got to start doing is getting some money and buying property, getting a mortgage and buying a house. Then you own that house. Then you own that garden. And then you are somebody. There's more to life than the estates. And I've got nothing bad or nothing to say nothing about people living in the state. That's where I'm coming from, and that's where everyone's coming from. But I just want the youth to try to understand. Yeah, it's not just about a corner, not just about a block. There's more to life than a block into an estate. And to kill a man over a block, over an estate, is a sad situation. It's sad, but it is what it is.
You're sorry for what you did?
I'm very remorseful. I'm very sorry for what I did. But, you know, I ain't got a magic wand. I can't change nothing around. All I can do is repent and move on with my life, which I have done and do now.
Okay, but then when you're sorry, are you sorry for the time you've lost, or are you sorry for the family that lost their son?
I'm sorry for everything. I'm sorry for all the victims, all victims. I'm sorry for the deceased. I'm sorry for his family, his children, the community, the police, the nurses, the doctors, everyone who was involved, the local shopkeeper, the local schools, the youth who are growing up nowadays, because I haven't been a good role model, and I believe I was part of the problem of what's going on now. Tell you like this, you know, there's been many nights I've been in there, I've been in jail, and I've looked out my window and think, you know what, when is this going to end? Like after being in jail like 5 years, you know you got 15, 20 years left, and you look at that window and the sun's shining and it's a nice day, early morning, you look at it, you know you're banged up, you know your family's out there, you know your girlfriend's out there, your children's out there, your mother's out there, and you think, when is it going to end? That's when you start regretting it. You might not regret it when you've done it, you might not regret it a year later, it might be 5 years later, it might be straight away, but there's going to be a day when you're going to regret the action. But you have to take responsible for your actions. That's why think before you act. Trust me. What I went to jail for was drug-related crime, to do with selling and buying drugs. At the time I was young, I was aggressive, I was boisterous, and I believe that violence solves problems. So any issues, anything I had, I was solving with violence. I went on the drug deal, and unfortunately I ended up pulling the trigger, and I took away someone's life. Anthony, I just come out of prison. I've been in prison for the last 20 years.
Reap what you sow. At the end of the day, you've gone through a lot in the last 20 years. And there's a lot of young youths out here that should get this message and understand, listen, you're not built for what you've been through. But at the end of the day, do you find it a blessing that you've had the choice? Because the guy at the other end of that gun, he never.
You know what? I'm blessed to be here, and I thank God for that I'm here, first and foremost. But talking about the guy who at the other end didn't have a choice. No, he didn't have a choice. I was wrong to do what I done, and you know, God gives life, and no man should be able to take life. But you know, it is what it is. It's happened, as I said, and I've moved on from that. I'm a new man, I'm a new creation, and I just thank God for my life every day.
Nobody in them roads really cares about you. When you're gone, and you will be gone when you're in the graveyard early. Maybe you're a lucky one and you'll only get 20 in a cage because you're out here with your big guns shooting people and don't care about no fence, and no one would dare snitch on you.
People always ask, where am I from? What am I representing? Listen, I'm first and foremost, I make you know this, yeah, I represent God. I'm from my mother. I don't represent no area, I don't represent no gang. I never have, I never will. My earliest days is growing up from New Park Road. Reached Atkins Primary School, to Stratton, to Solihull, to Spencer Park in Clapham Junction, to going to school in Croydon and all over. My parents, they always moved, trying to make progress in life. So basically, I've just been all over.
I'm one of the full-time workers here at Marcus Lipton, and I recently got to know a very nice gentleman called Tony, who comes here and he works with young people. He working on a developmental program with young people, particularly our hard to reach young boys. And I sat in one of the sessions, and what I find very good about it is the fact that he talks to them from a real perspective. It's called Real Talk, and it really is real talk, because I've seen people do development programs and most of them are quite good. But what is interesting about this one is that when Tony talks about prison life and things of that nature, he's talking from experience, being there, seen it, done it. As he said to me, he's been all over the place within the system. So therefore, when he talks to young people about what he does, and in terms of influencing the young people who are here, he's talking from a level of, I know this is how it is. Whereas a lot of the development programs, even some of the ones that I've run, when we talk about prison and not going to prison and avoiding prison, we're only talking about it from an intellectual perspective. We don't know exactly what goes on inside the actual prisoners. Whereas Tony will talk to you from a position of, this is how it is, this is what happens. And so that is really a good level of, people appreciating what it is he's actually doing.
All this just for the camera. Are you really all about helping the young youths come off the roads?
Look, it's either you're in or you're out with me. I've never half-stepped with nothing I've done before. I'm out, I'm finished with the roads. I'm interested in helping the youths to believe in themselves, have self-respect, respect for others, in getting education and believing they can achieve and they will achieve. I just try to influence the youth, man. I love the youth. I don't want them to go through what I went through, because I'll tell you straight, yeah, it's not a rubbish. Jail's for waste, man. Jail's for waste, man. Simple as that. In jail, you're not good to no one. You're not good to your mother, to your children, or to no one. Jail's a no-no. I don't wish that on no one. I don't want them to go through what I went through in order to change. This is why I'm trying to get them an early intervention. This is why people like this guy on my right here, I respect him. He's changing his life. This guy here is changing his life. And these guys, I'm kind of a role model to these guys, because they look and see what I went through, and they decide, you know what, they don't want to go through what I went through. So I respect that. I'm finished with the roads. The roads ain't got nothing for me. Nothing at all. I'm there for my family, and that's about it.
Let's get on to that incarceration. So tell me what the first thing was when you heard the judge say that you're getting 20 years. What was the first thoughts that went through your mind?
I thought my life was over. That was it, man. That's it, man. You get 20 years. Life recommendation to serve 20 years. That's it, your life's over. There's nothing there. At a young man at the age of 22, at the time, I couldn't see myself like 42 or 43 being out here on the streets again. I couldn't see it. It's too long.
The minute you pulled that trigger, did your life change in any way? And I'm not just talking about your day-to-day, obviously, prison life. I'm talking about mentally and physically. Did you have any changes?
Man, listen, from the day I pulled that trigger, I regretted it. From the second I regretted it, I regret up to now. This is like 21 years, 22 years later. I've got to live with that. It's on my brain, it's on my conscience. If I could go back and rewind time, I'll do things different. And that goes with a lot of youths. They don't really understand that, what they got to live with. You don't understand that when you sleep at night time, when it creeps up on you, when you start thinking about it, when you're laying down in that cell, it's not easy. Trust me.
Did you ever get a gun in your face?
Personally, I'm lucky I've never had a gun in my face. I've seen it happen to people before. It's not a very nice thing. As you know, guns kill.
So when you say you saw it, like, was you there when something like that happened?
I've seen things in my lifetime, you know, growing up, as I said, going to dance halls when I was a young age, a young man. And I've seen the so-called BADMAN, what they used to call BADMAN in the dance hall, up and down the place. Right? They might have a rental car, it might be real. People busting in the air and stuff like that. So, you know, growing up, I always had good influences in my household. My dad always worked hard, my mum worked hard, my uncles, my aunties. I'll say some of it is from out on the streets, peer pressure, wanting to fit in, you know, because, you know, when I first was really hardcore, I was living in Stratton, I was hanging around in Brixton, so I was like, you know, doing the thing. My man living in Brixton, and you know what I mean, like, just wanted to fit in, I always wanted to fit in, always, so whether I was in Junction, Stratton, Brixton, Battersea, you know, just want to be part of what everyone's doing. Like, a lot of it is peer pressure because of you know, I also want to be peer pressure, I'll say something self-pressure, because you tell yourself you want to be like. See, I wasn't bullied. I told myself, I want to be like XYZ. So, in order to be like XYZ, I have to make money like XYZ. I have to dress like XYZ. I want to talk like XYZ. I want to be boisterous like XYZ. So I wasn't bullied to do anything. I was self-pressured, pressuring myself into becoming a character and a person I wasn't born to be, I wasn't cut out to be. That's the truth.
Do you believe that if you never went to prison for 20 years, you'd still be alive today?
Who knows? You know, the life I was living, I don't know. I don't know if I'd be rich. I don't know if I'd be a junkie. I don't know if I'd be dead. I had no sense of direction, so I don't know. More than likely, I could say I could have been dead. Just like my best friend who got killed around Summer Lane. Everyone knows who my best friend was. So, you know, RIP to him. So who knows?
Personally, I feel that people out on the roads, they don't realise, like, reality doesn't hit them until they go to jail or their friends die. But it can be difficult out on the roads. It's hard because people will stereotype young people and say, like, a young black male or a young white male can't do this and can't do that. So to be honest, it's vice versa. It works both ways. I believe that if you really want to do something with life, you can do it. Like, make it not be through college, just work your way up and do different things. Run up your own business, anything you can do. I mean, there's a lot of networks out there that can help young people, but it's all about you having that mindset to say, yes, this is what I want. I don't want to be on the roads, because the roads, you're either going to end up dead, in jail, or limited to the amount of things that you can do. And a lot of people, when they go jail, reality really hits them. I mean, you might not go today, tomorrow, could be next year, but personally, I don't think it's worth it. And I think the young youth of today need to open up their minds and realise that it's not worth it. Don't be a sheep, be a leader, because at the end of the day, if you're in jail, your friends are going to forget about you. They're not going to remember you next 10 years, next 5 years. They're not going to care about who you are. They're out here on the road doing their thing. Yeah, so I just think it's about you being a person, because your friends are not going to get you to where you want to go. And half the times, your friends are not your friends.
Let me tell you something. It takes a second or 2 seconds to pull that trigger, but that 1 second or 2 seconds could be the rest of your life in prison, which is not worth it. There's many youths, many grown men sitting down in prison thinking, if buts, it's too late. We're in front of that judge and he finds you guilty, the ifs and buts go out the window. So think before you act.
In prison, when was the first time you saw something that made you say, yeah, look, this is the wrong turn that I've took? What was the first thing that happened to you to make you say, damn?
Well, one of the things was like seeing my grandmother and my mum visiting me and all the pain I was inflicting on them, along with my daughter. You know, when my grandmother came to visit me from Jamaica, and I'll see her crying on the visit, and like, it hurt me, it broke me up. Seeing my mum crying, it's broke me up, because that's like my family. So I've got a loving family, along with my aunties and my cousins. You know, to see my family hurt, I started to reflect. Whereas before, I didn't really care. I didn't really care about nothing or no one. But that's my family. Yeah, but especially my grandmother. I've had many sleepless nights before in the past. It haunted me. You know, the guilt, to live with it is hard to live with. It's hard to live with that guilt. And that's what a lot of young people don't realise. I mean, it's easy carrying out the job, but to live with it, it's a different scenario, to live with it day by day, to live with the consequences, to know how much victims you've caused. I mean, the ripple effect of it can go on and on and on, not just the parents, the community, your parents, yourself, your children, and so forth.
So what's the worst thing that you ever went through with another inmate that you're willing to talk about, to show the youngsters that this is something serious and that they don't want to go through that same angle?
Well, for me, you know, it was a give and take situation. I was always like battling with people in there and up and down in segregation units, but the worst thing that happened to me really, I got jumped in a prison called Long Larton by 5 guys. You know, they jumped me, I got cut in my face, I got cut in my neck. But hey, you know what I mean, I'm still there, it was cool. I personally, it didn't really break me, you know, it's made me a stronger person, you know, I still came out on top. But every day I got to wake up and see the scars in my face. There's been people, I've seen people get hot oil thrown over them. And this ain't no punks, these ain't no fools, this is like a man from the road, like, or decent guys. You know, it's who gets who first in there, innit? So I've seen like proper guys like get hurt, you know. So I've seen a lot in there, but for me personally, that's the worst thing that happened to me. I got jumped by 5 guys and I got cut. I'm here to tell the toe.
As for Anthony, the work that Anthony does is really, really important. He brings a different dimension to how we actually work and talk and deal with a lot of young people. For instance, through Anthony's talks and his real life experience, and actually the passion, the commitment, the truth he brings, it's actually helped a lot of young people to understand what's happening. Being a mentor as well as being something that has not only helped those young people, but actually drawn other young people towards Anthony and stuff that he talks about and what he deals with. It's real, it's live. And the mere fact that actually, for me as a managing director, to allow Andy that space, time to trust in his methods and his understanding of how to work with some of these young men has been instrumental in helping them to actually, not because it's quite easy to put on it that, you know, I've changed your life. It's not so much about that, but actually he's put seeds, he's left seeds in their heads, or giving them opportunities to start to think about what they want out of their life and some of the consequences they face in some of the actions they do. Where before they wouldn't give a damn, they would have just done it. But through Anthony, they've started to actually realise that there's more to life, and actually working hard, being honest, and trying to get through life is the right way. I mean, for me, Anthony's a credit to anybody who's been through a system and has come out the other end. And a lot of people do that. But what Anthony brings to it is a real drive and passion. And it ain't a passion to say, you know what, I'm doing this because I'm there and this. It's actually ensuring that other young people don't go down the road that he's travelled. And if you do, you understand what you're taking on. So, without a doubt, I think that having people like Anthony working in this field, doing the work he does, can only enhance the work that we do beside him, and actually give a 130% turnaround to a lot of young people. So they see things not from one angle, but there's a real wraparound service in how we deal with them. Because again, one of the biggest things that I think is a challenge is a lot of people go inside, go through the criminal justice system, and they don't talk the truth. Everybody talks how great and how brave and how nice and how easy it was in there. But no one really tell you that actually it was terrible, it was hard work. You know, I had good days, bad days, years of being anger, coming out the other end, becoming a listener, the new skills I've learned, the understanding I learned by myself, and sometimes even the reflective work about all the other people you put through the system or put through that whole kind of emotional ride alongside you. So, having someone like Anthony who's still out there in terms of got street cred, people know him, and for him to talk what he does can only be beneficial rather than detrimental to everybody. So, from my point of view, once more, we need more people like Anthony, because, like I said, it can only help some of these young men to understand themselves and understand the life of crime or what you can get out of it. Yeah.
getting lost in this prison system, being in the dispersal system. I was in there for about 12 years in the dispersal system, and like seeing people get lost in the system. I've seen people who had like a 15-year tariff, when they had to do 15 years, like I've seen in there for like 20 years, 21 years, and the tariff was only 15 years. And I looked, I told myself, you know what, I don't want to be like these guys. I don't want to be the guy with a 20-year tariff doing 25 years or 30 years of my life. It doesn't make no sense. And it was an old man who sat me down and said to me, look, he said, look, you need to change your ways, because the way you're going to go on, you're going to end up doing 25 to 30 years. I didn't want to do 25 to 30 years. So that's what made me really reflect as well. Let me tell you something, man. The amount of people who is in the nick who, they say, you know what, it wasn't worth it. It's unbelievable. You get guys in there, got millions of pounds, multi-millions of pounds, and they sit down and they say, you know what, for all the money in the world, they want their freedom. There's loads of people in there in for murders, stabbings, whatever it may be, and they always say, you know what, my man wasn't worth it, or she wasn't worth it, or whatever it may be. But as I said, it's too late when you're sitting down in the police station, or it's too late when you're sitting down in the prison cell saying it wasn't worth it. It's kind of scary, you know, people might not admit it, but I'm telling you, you've done a long time in prison, and it kind of introduces life, because you're used to being in prison. When you come out, you know, you've got to come out by society, you've got to come out under rules and regulations. No one doesn't want to go back to prison, so it's kind of scary, but as I said, the last of my family, you know, I was a lucky man, but to tell the truth, I didn't think I was going to get released. I wanted to, I believed in it, but there's always that little slight thing in your head, are they going to give me parole? You know, have I done enough? And then there's the thing about employment. Where am I going to go and get work? Where am I going to live? What hospital are they going to put me in? All these things will come into mind. But I said, by the grace of God, I've just been lucky. Well, not lucky, I've been blessed. You see, for me, I mean, God bless my family, and I'm God bless. You know, God has really blessed me. I've got a loving, caring family. Who love me, they care for me, they're there for me. They've been there for me from day one till I finished to now, and they're always going to be there for me. I've got a loving mum, dad, sister, aunts, uncles. I'm a blessed guy, and not many people in my situation come out and have family, good family background and good family ties. See, my family set me for who I am, and they forgive me.
Okay, so you're not seen as the black sheep of the family. Like, is there anyone saying, no, they don't really want nothing to do with you, fact of matter of what you've done, what you've come out from?
All my immediate family are supportive, mentally, financially, always there for me. I ain't got bad words to say about anyone in my family. I'm a blessed guy. I'm not lucky, you know, I'm blessed. Phones, you know, when I went away, the phones were big, they were massive, you got nice thin iPhones, smartphones, internet access, you know, things like that. Like there's emailing people, you can send a message straight away. The other thing called Skype, we can talk to your mum in Jamaica or Barbados, wherever they may be. You know, things like that. You know what I mean? Like it's crazy. Like the cars, they're shaped different. You know, there's nice things out there. But with that comes a lot of pressure for people to have. But no one don't want to be the have-nots. Everyone wants to be the have-gots. So for the youngsters growing up, there's more pressure, but it's beautiful. So, but if you can not lead yourself into temptation, you know, be smart and be clever and be wise, the things what you like in life, the fine necessities in life, you will get, but you will get them in the right time. Well, I'll tell you that a lot of it I try to block out by smoking, drugs, by fighting, by being violent, always in segregation units, always getting in trouble. I try to blank everything out. But the reality is, just like any drug, whether it's weed, whether it's skunk, whether it's, I don't know, ecstasy, whether it's crack, whether it's coke, whatever it is, you still got to come and face the reality. And the reality was that I was in a prison cell. The reality was that I had to do 20 years minimum. So I had to buckle and get my life together. And I had to live by example. So I stopped smoking, I stopped the violence, I stopped being involved in the drug culture, I got educated and I changed my life around. And from that, everything's been all good, all positive. I'm on probation for the rest of my life.
So what does that entail? Like, let us know what that means you have to do for the rest of your life.
Well, I've got to go and report to probation for the rest of my life. Now, listen, a life sentence don't end. People think you do a life sentence, it might be 10 years, and yeah, you're out and you're nice, it doesn't go like that. A life sentence is 99 years for the rest of your life. So whether you do 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, or 20 years, Yeah, when you come out to society, you're on what they call life license. So anything you do, you get recalled, you go back to jail. You get recalled anytime, any place, anywhere. Your life is in their hands. You understand? And then we go back to life sentence and break it down to you guys. My time for 20 years, I'm lucky I got out 20 years to that day because I changed my life around. Because I got educated, because I believed in myself, and I went on that parole board with confidence. But there's loads of guys in there that go on parole boards, they get knocked back, they can't get out. Because they don't know how to adapt, they don't know how to change. You see, when you go to prison, your life is in the prison system's hands. Your life is in their hands. And after that, your life is in the probation's hands. You'll never be the same man again. You know, in my 20 years in prison, I've seen 2 people die. One in HLP, Long Lartin prison. A guy got stabbed and got killed there. One in FOOTSTEP prison. So, you know, there's a lot of bad things that happen in prison. People do get hurt, people do get killed, people do get cut, stabbed, hot water thrown over them, all sorts happen. I'll tell you, I work for an organisation, and I can say it on camera because it's cool. I work for an organisation called Prison Me No Way. Yeah, that's what I work for. And I'm a youth engagement manager. That's what I've become. And I'll tell you what, yeah, they told me I couldn't do it. We go back to saying about rehabilitation and helping about prison. The prison system told me I couldn't do it. They told me that I couldn't be a youth engagement manager, I couldn't be a mentor because of my previous convictions or conviction. But I did it. See, I proved everyone wrong. You know why? Because I believed in myself. And I didn't believe in the streets. I believed in success. I believe I'm going to be more successful than I am now. Because I believed in myself. So I work for an organisation called Prison Me No Way. Well, basically I go into schools, colleges, universities. I go all around the country and I do motivational talks. As well as that, I've wrote my own crime prevention program, what I deliver with various yachts around the country. And as I said before, and as I say again, I do youth work in Marcus Lipton Youth Club. So I'm just trying to put good input back into society with the knowledge of my previous. You see, the youth of today, I love the youth of today, and I smile and I laugh because the youth of today are so smart, they're so intelligent. You know, they've got this thing called bars, and they speak their bars and they can recite their bars. You know, they're smart boys. There's a lot of people more kids going to university, a lot of kids, you know, getting good grades in school. But then again, there's more gangs, there's more drugs, there's more money, there's more murders. So there's 2 sides to the story. As always, there's always 2 sides to the coin. I mean, the guys, young guys, the youth who are involved in gangs, drugs and all that, I really feel sorry for them. A lot of them are under peer pressure. A lot of them are in it because they're born in it. You know, some people don't choose to be in a gang, but they've been brought up in the state. Some of them might not know who their dad is, might not have a good relationship with their mum, so looking for that father figure. And a father figure could be a gang member, a gang, or an elder. So I really do feel sorry for them. I just wish that I had a magic wand that I could wave it and get everyone out of poverty, everyone out of the gang mentality, the street mentality, to make things better. But I can't. But you know, all I can do is come to such places as Marcus Lipton Youth Club and share the harsh reality of life with them, of doing 20 years in prison, of not having a good, close relationship with my kids, what I'd like to have.
Just a little something on the first time you heard from Tony and what it's done from you, the fact that you know him and what he's about.
The first time I saw Tony and I heard what he said, I'm not gonna lie, it opened up my eyes, you know, and it made me realise that being on the roads, there's never a happy ending, to be honest. Obviously we know these things, but seeing someone that's had that experience and that's changed their life around, very inspirational. And yeah, it was something I needed to hear because I was going through a little phase in my life and I was a bit confused and so forth. So when Tony said what he said, it kind of motivated me even more to want to stay on the right track. So yeah, done a lot of positive things for me.
And what are you doing right now?
Right now I'm working here in Lipton, youth worker, trying to help the youngsters change their life around, stay positive and keep fit in the gym as well. You know, let them know they can channel their aggression into positive things instead of negative things. And
what are you seeing from the kids that you're working with?
I'm seeing progress. It takes time, but I'm seeing progress. It just needs a lot of attention and a lot of working to do. You know, they just need someone to just be consistent with them and pay close attention to them and, you know, just work at them. They need someone to work at them and not give up on them. They need that help, you know. The moment you give up on them, then they get lost. So you just got to stick with it and just ride it to the end, you know, till the wheels fall off.
You know what? I wish I could bring you to all the different various places I've worked and make speak to staff. I mean, I've been to schools and I've had kids at school saying, "No, I'm going to church now. No, I'm finished with that. I'm going straight." I've had teachers implore me. I've had letters. I've had all sorts, man. I mean, I change lives every day I go out and I talk in the community. So I go all over the countries and talk, in schools, in universities, in colleges, and I change lives every time I talk.
What's Marcus Lipton done for you?
Bless. It gives me something to do with my family. If it's not to you, I just want me.
Yeah, so what would you say to anyone who's walking the streets and got nothing positive going on?
Just call Marcus because they're all good events. It'll give you something to do with your time, so you don't have to waste your time doing dumb stuff like that.
Marcus Lipton now changed to ML Enterprise. I used to come in when I was young. Coming in since I was like 10 till I was about 19. They actually helped me to get in the youth work trade. And now, you know, I'm ready. I do my bricks in soup kitchen, working with the homeless. We've also, what Tony Aberration? Obviously, I heard the Tony story. Tony was from my area, Summer Leighton. Yeah, so obviously hearing his journey and knowing the journey where he is now, it's a blessing. You know what I mean? Now we can teach a lot of young people about what to do. You know what I mean? Because a lot of the young people right now are clueless.
What's Marcus Lipton done for you?
Obviously, it's kept me off the roads and it's helping me not go in no gang life. And yeah, they hold good events. Like, they had a table tennis competition and they was giving out money and stuff. So yeah, I like it.
So what message would you give to any young guy that's looking to go into a gang life?
Come to Marcus Lipton and they're trying to change their life around.
So with regards now, you've lost 20 years of your life. What are you going to give us for the next 20? What's the plan?
Yeah, man. Right now, you know, I'm proud to tell everyone that I'm a born-again Christian and I love my life. Right now, you know what I mean? I've given up everything, you know what I mean? I'm in the church, I'm happy. You know, the next 20 years of my life will just be giving back to the community, giving back to the youngsters, empowering them, giving them self-belief, self-worth. As I said, all this stuff what I didn't have, to teach them that education is the key to success. You know, to teach them I don't care if you're black, I don't care if you're white, I don't care if you're from Summer Leighton, Mansfield, wherever you're from. You can be something, you can be someone, you just got to believe in yourself and go for it. I'm telling you, it all boils down to the foundation, and the foundation is education. We need to get the kids at early intervention. We need to get them before they get kicked out of school. We need to get them before they start doing all the badness. That's where we need to get them and keep them in line.